People just think I was a deranged madman totally out of contact with reality, which wasn't the case.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're unveiling some of the most chilling aspects of the Son of Sam case that are surfacing years later.
It's hard for me to even relive this because I haven't told anybody about, these things.
In the new Netflix miniseries Conversations with a Killer, prison reporter Jack Jones shares a series of early recorded interviews with David Berkowitz that answer disturbing questions about his crimes, victims, motives, and enigmatic serial killer persona.
All I ask from people, you see, is to be open-minded. Let them hate me as much as they want, but at the same time be open-minded so that they can learn something from this.
So here are the biggest bombshells from the Son of Sam tapes, in the killer's own words.
The feeling of power, I didn't enjoy it, I just needed to do it.
Number 10. Burkowitz's moniker was his own invention. Many believe that the media appointed David Berkowitz with his sinister Jack the Ripper-esque nickname Son of Sam, but this couldn't be further from the truth. Berkowitz was thrilled with the publicity his crimes afforded him, taunting police with menacing letters in which he referred to himself as the Son of Sam.
I am deeply hurt by your calling me a woman hater. I am not, but I am a monster. I'm the Son of Sam.
Initially, investigators were puzzled.
Son of Sam. That's the first time we ever heard that name. What does that mean? Who is Sam?
Officers thought it could be an allusion to Uncle Sam, or the Archangel Samael, but it was a reference to his neighbor, Sam, who owned a black dog that pestered Burkowitz with its barking. He saw this disturbance to his peace as just another case of the world trying to drive him crazy, and began to harass his neighbor, even shooting and injuring the dog.
The idea of calling myself Son of Sam, I guess, just came to me because Sam Carr was causing me a lot of aggravation with his dog barking.
In the letters, Burkowitz switches between wanting to stop killing and affirming he can't, as if he's shifting in and out of a personality known as Sam.
She was a very, very sweet girl, but Sam's a thirsty lad, and he won't let me stop killing until he gets his fill of blood.
Number 9. Burkowitz was a copycat killer. The Son of Sam holds his own weight in serial killer history, standing out as a terrifyingly memorable boogeyman. But he actually admits to taking inspiration from infamous slashers who'd come before him, right down to their own menacing letters he read about.
I got it right out of that, because I had that book even before the shooting started.
Berkowitz was an avid consumer of true crime, and while most view it as a ghastly form of entertainment, Berkowitz was actually developing a blueprint from those who'd worn the blood-treaded boots before him.
The Boston Strangler, the Zodiac guy, Jack the Ripper, the historical book. It discusses the crimes in great length. Did you identify with that sort of stuff? Yeah.
Notorious serial killers became paragons who'd made the brave choice to act out their fury, rather than letting it eat at them.
But here I was saying these other guys acting out their angers and frustrations on other people. The guy from Taxi Driver did it, all these mass killers did it in the American way or something.
It's impossible to truly blame violent media for causing crime.
All these movies and things seem to encourage me.
Though in Berkowitz's case, he found comfort with the darker sides of the world, and used the horrors already out there to justify a temperamental deviance that sought to become a horror too.
It was just a matter of time before the guns and my anger were going to blend together, and then everything's going to blow up,
Number 8. Burkowitz wasn't insane. Anyone familiar with the case knows the eerie story of Burkowitz being instructed to kill by the voices of demons coming through his neighbor Sam's dog.
David said he wasn't picking the victims, the demons were. He will simply be the hand with the gun.
This chilling tale was recounted by Burkowitz numerous times after arrest, bolstering the popular theory that he was crazy.
Well, Sam did it through me. He used me. He made me go out there and do it. I did it for him, so go.
However, Burkowitz didn't ultimately seek an insanity plea, instead admitting his guilt on the stand. In reality, this was his way of taking credit for the horrific crimes that provided him international notoriety. To be written off as unstable would be a disservice to his work, so he ultimately fessed up on tape.
Well, it just came to me, because I've always had a wild imagination. Suddenly I started to blame Sam Carr for everything. That he was at fault, and that his dog was giving me orders and things, and it was all just a sham.
Effectively, Berkowitz was writing his own serial killer noir, fabricating legends of demons to add more terror and fantastical elements to the story. This served to keep the focus off of his true self, which was a shell of a human lacking all basic empathy and remorse. Many would argue that someone has to be insane to carry out a string of murders, whether or not a barking dog told them to. But from a legal standpoint, Berkowitz was fit to stand trial because he wasn't clinically insane or out of touch with reality. He knew right from wrong and was fully aware of every sick decision he made, including the creation of his own serial killer persona.
Somehow this was the home of the devil or something. I knew I was going to be captured, and I had set all these things up.
Number 7. Berkowitz actually had a good childhood. It's a common misconception that all serial killers commit murder simply because of a traumatic childhood. There are plenty of cases where prolific murderers endured neglect or abuse that can be linked to sprees later in life. But Berkowitz's origins are nothing of the sort. He was raised in a middle-class family by loving adoptive parents.
My mother and father were decent, fair, kind, loving, everything positive. My mother used to tell me, she used to tuck me in at night, every night, kiss my forehead.
However, when he was told that his biological mother died during childbirth, something shifted deep within him.
I walked around with this death wish, because I felt I had to pay for her death, you see. I didn't really belong in the world.
Berkowitz claims that this internalized lack of belonging caused him to act out, even against his adoring adoptive mom.
I was very vicious and mean towards her, and she didn't understand it, because I wouldn't stop. She was such a decent person, and here I was, one mean guy.
This marked the beginning of his delinquent antisocial behavior. Because crime is a multi-causal phenomenon, and each killer's background is so nuanced, the force that nudged Berkowitz off the deep end is far more complex than one would think.
You gotta understand that there was no one thing that led up to this, People are apt to just find some like one superficial reason and say, well, that was probably his motive, This wasn't the case at all.
Number 6. Berkowitz was the original incel.
I felt like I was always on another planet. I never seemed to really fit in.
Incel is a modern internet term used to describe angry young men who blame the world for their misfortunes. Ironically, Berkowitz can actually be viewed as the model for this type of bitter, perverse male rage, wherein women are the enemy.
He got deeper and deeper into this morass of me against women.
Jones, who spent days upon days speaking intimately with Berkowitz, details how the killer desperately wanted to have a woman to love.
I had a lot of girlfriends, but they were very shallow relationships, never lasted long.
In the documentary, Berkowitz recalls a particularly bad breakup after catching his girl with another man.
Found out later she played around a lot on a lot of guys. She wasn't that sweet and innocent. I should have yelled at her good or something and smacked this guy in the head. They both had it coming,
Trademark incel tell signs are an exaggerated sense of self, lack of accountability, and internalized angst that boils over into violence. Berkowitz checks every box.
I still didn't forgive them, you understand? They might have thought that because I just shrugged it off and just went on my way. But they just stayed inside.
Number 5. Mommy issues led to his MO. It's been well established that Berkowitz harbors a deep-seated hatred for women.
He was incredibly sensitive to the least slight against him, his fragile ego.
But to make matters worse, he later discovered his birth mother was actually alive, and she didn't match his expectations.
I was kind of confused. It wasn't what I pictured, I was hoping maybe a more attractive mother,
Learning that he'd been conceived out of wedlock reaffirmed his belief that women are floozies, so he developed a disgust for the missing piece he'd been searching for.
So now anger took over to replace the guilt. It's something that just built up, uncontrolled. It's like a volcano erupting.
Berkowitz blames that descent into darkness on his rage against a world that supposedly discarded him. But behind this is a jealousy of those who'd gotten more out of life, including loving relationships. He didn't want to see other men happy with women, or couples potentially conceiving children they didn't want, like himself.
It just brings me back to the idea of women, young girls, having sex in a car with guys, carelessness, It's kind of like degrading to me to know that I was an accident, you see.
And so his modus operandi was born.
And he began, middle of the night, long drive with a gun, looking for stand-ins for his horrible mother and father.
Number 4, the first victim's boyfriend was a prime suspect.
Whenever there's a homicide, you always look close. That's where you start, and then you branch off from there.
In the late 70s, when Burkowitz's killing spree started, New York City was a grimy and crime-ridden hellscape dubbed Fear City.
I'm afraid to walk around here, I'm afraid to be in this neighborhood.
It could be me. I don't want to be the next victim.
The NYPD was bogged down with reports of homicide and armed robbery.
I mean, you would be running from call to call to call.
With increasing police layoffs, it was difficult to devote the necessary resources to properly investigate each case. On the evening of July 29, 1976, Berkowitz fatally shot and killed his first victim, Donna Loria. Because there was no pattern yet, police initially questioned Loria's boyfriend.
My father called me up out of the basement, and he goes, I don't think it's a good idea that you attend the wake. He felt that they were going to blame me for killing her.
In fact, he became the prime suspect for months on end.
For the first 6 months after she passed, I was accused of murder. I was in disbelief. Nobody ever apologized to me.
Ultimately, a clear-cut alibi exonerated him and the case went cold.
Back then, there was over 1,600 homicides. The number of cases was overwhelming.
Donna Loria's murder became another statistic, and Berkowitz was free to prowl the streets, committing at least another 7 shootings. Number 3, Berkowitz wanted to be a hero.
It wasn't so much them that I was trying to fool. It was myself. I wanted to do, something good. I wanted to be needed by somebody.
It's hard to imagine someone so cold-blooded could actually aspire to be a hero.
I'd have much rather been a hero than a villain, doing something spectacular every other week,
In his youth, Berkowitz tapped into emergency scanners and showed up to fire and police scenes to assist in rescues.
If there was a fire on the street with a building in flames, and if people were trapped in there, I'd be the first one to run in there to help them,
He enlisted in the army, but regretted that he never got to participate in combat, and left. Once he abandoned these dreams, Berkowitz claims he could only commit murder against total strangers, recalling a time he decided not to murder 2 people who asked him for help with their car.
I had contact with them. I saw them as persons. Even for that brief second, I looked at their faces, and I said to myself, oh, thank God, I mean something to somebody, even if it's just for a second. I'm called upon to help.
For a fleeting moment, this opportunity for heroism overrode his penchant for villainy.
I would have been more grateful for that incident, you understand, my chance to help somebody than to go out and hurt somebody.
However, it's hard to find too much credibility in Berkowitz's words, considering he was content resuming his spree soon after. Plus, Jones mentions that Berkowitz had a firm agenda to prop himself up as a good guy throughout the interviews.
I'm not a bad person, I'm not that bad, but it's impossible for them to know all this.
He struggled to see himself as truly evil because he blamed the world for creating the monster. In his eyes, he could have been a great person if things turned out differently, and as a master of deception, he led Jones to believe he still was decent.
It was clear from the beginning that he wanted to use me to promote himself as a good guy who had learned from his horrible crimes.
Number 2, Berkowitz alleged the media collaborated with him. Years into his sentence, Berkowitz gave a number of interviews where he claimed to be a part of a cult that participated in the killings with him.
Carl De Niro, Rosemary Keenan, and Queens. That wasn't you.
The idea that he wasn't a lone gunman wasn't a new conspiracy, so it caught on.
Other Son of Sam killers are still lurking on the loose.
As soon as he joined that cult, the .44 was put into his hand.
Although an investigation ensued, Berkowitz never offered any names. Given that the killing stopped after he was locked up, it was eventually dismissed as another hoax he'd contrived. But recently, Berkowitz came forward to claim that members of the press had suggested he peddle this tall tale about a cult the news called the 22 Disciples of Hell. Perhaps these journalists' motivation was to drum up more interest in the media and feed the global satanic panic coverage that sold so well.
In a shocking confession, the .44 caliber killer tells of devil worship, of cult members who helped him carry out his gruesome string of killings.
However, given Berkowitz's track record of lies, it's impossible to know what to truly believe. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Burkowitz's victims are still coming forward. Even decades after his arrest and incarceration, those who believe he's responsible for their unsolved shootings are still speaking out. Wendy Savino claims that Berkowitz shot her in 1976, but was never tried for it.
He's agreeing to all of these other shootings. Why not this one? You saw my face, I saw your face, David. You can't deny you shot me. I saw you doing it.
The attack mirrored his exact pattern of killing, except for the model of the gun used. When confronted with this evidence, as recently as 2024, Burkowitz denied all accountability.
I was not involved. I don't know what to say.
Your position is absolutely not. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. I would like to do what I can to just clear that.
As a born-again Christian, admitting to yet another violent act likely goes against his newly developed character. This raises the question of just how many unsolved murder attempts were never properly attributed to him. And sadly, if there are more, a confession will likely never come.
I wish I could start all over again and take a better path in life, but it just didn't work out that way.
Which reveal from the documentary did you find the most unsettling? Share your thoughts in the comments.